So what else would you like to tell us about the impact of mental health in the workplace?
Well, I've never really worked in very typical workplaces because I've always worked in the mental health system, or not in the system, but nibbling away from the side of it,
Yes.
or biting it occasionally. I've always worked inside that system, and I've always worked as someone who has openly acknowledged experience of mental health problems. So what that means is that I haven't had to go through the kind of the issues that most people with mental health problems face in the employment world, which is, will I even bother going to find a job because I'm worried that employers will discriminate against me? Now that's the first thing. So there's a lot of evidence that probably about a third of people who use mental health services, for instance, don't even bother going to get a job, trying to find a job, because they think they'll be discriminated against.
Right.
And this is helped along by clinicians who say, oh, don't get a job, it's too stressful for you. Well, I'll tell you what, being unemployed is far more stressful for a lot of us. So then, well, okay, the other 2/3 might say, yeah, I'll go and see if I can get a job. But will I disclose that I have a mental health problem or not? And I think in some countries there's a legal requirement to disclose if you think it's going to interfere with your job performance. Well, if you're an optimist, you'd say no, so you wouldn't disclose, I suppose. And then there's real fears among people of thinking, well, if I do disclose, they won't give me the job. And there was a very clear example of this. It was all over the world press a few weeks ago about a woman who got a job as a host, as an airline stewardess, and I think it was with Emirates or something. And as soon as they found out, after they'd offered her the job, that she had a history of depression, they took the job away from her. So there's very real, the fear that employers may not employ me if they find out I have a history of mental health problems is very real. It's not always imagined, although I think probably people fear it more than it actually happens, but it does happen. And then the next decision is, well, will I, once they've offered me the job, will I tell them then? Because, I might have to take a bit of time off, or it might help me if I can start work a bit later in the day, or I really can't concentrate working in an open plan office. And that's a pretty tricky time as well. And the trouble is, if people don't fess up to it then, or not fess up, but if people don't talk about it then, they can't negotiate any work conditions related to their mental health problem. That if you talk to your employer or your colleagues about this, will they just discriminate against you by, not giving you jobs because they think they're too stressful, by not promoting you, or by socially ostracizing you in the smoko room or wherever because they think you're a bit weird or they're a bit afraid of you or something like that. So that's a difficult issue for some people as well. And then there's the issue, well, if you wait till things go really pear-shaped, if they do, if you start having major problems, that might not be the best time to disclose. So there's a whole kind of series of disclosure decisions that have to be made. I mean, that you have to make, that it doesn't just end when you decide to get the job or when you're offered a job. It's something that people are constantly making decisions about. Well, will I disclose to my, the person working in the desk opposite me or not, and so on.
So what? Just finally, I'd like to ask you one question. What would you think is the best way that employers or managers can do to make their workplaces more people-friendly?
Well, I think that's a good question because if you make workplaces more people-friendly, they'll be more friendly for people who have mental health problems. I mean, one of the big issues is that if you know employers need to be concerned about well-being in the workplace, and if they create a workplace that that enhances the well-being of all the staff, it'll also enhance the well-being of the people on the staff who've experienced mental health problems. So I think it's very important again that we don't single out a group of people as needing, sort of special cotton wool pulled around them, but all human beings have vulnerability points. People work better when there's a happy atmosphere in the office or the workplace, and so it pays for employers to make sure that they provide, that they establish cultures where there's a lot of well-being, and that'll enhance everyone's life.
Good. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you. That was really nice. Thank you, Mary. So where would people go to if they want to get a copy of Madness Made Me?
Madness Made Me is available on Amazon.com. Yeah. And if you want to find the link to the page, go to the website, which is www.madnessmademe.com.
Oh, nice and simple.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mary. Thank you for interviewing with us.
Okay, good.